Welcome to Indian Tech Icon Spotlight, where every tech journey becomes a legacy. I'm Sheetal Acharya, and let's welcome on the spotlight Dina, who is a dynamic leader driving large-scale digital transformations through vision, tech, and impact. Hi Dina, welcome to our show.
Hi, Sheetal.
It's really an honor to host you today.
Thanks for having me. Thank you, Sheetal.
So, Dina, let's start with your very first role in technology. We would like to know more about how your career progressed over all these years.
No, absolutely. So I first joined as a software engineer with Infosys. After my college, I've been looking for work more in electronics. I come from electronics and electrical background, so looking for more in that side of the industry. But then the life actually happened where I got into Infosys more from the consulting background on the software engineering field. So it was actually fascinating as to how they can actually get somebody really up to speed in a short span of time, and also how technology makes it possible for anybody to join that bandwagon without that, hey, we have been studying 4 years of electronics engineering, but then in a short span of time, we all kind of got into and trying to serve the clients and so on too. So that's where it all started. So after a few years, I had to travel back to Canada for Canadian Pacific as one of the key vendors of Infosys at that time. So we developed large scale train operations applications for Canadian Pacific and maintained that and supported that and so on too. And then Canadian Pacific at that time, they were also trying to do more of a positive train control. That's an initiative where the locomotives can travel autonomously and so on. It was actually a very in its own league. It's industry leading and so on too, based on some regulatory aspects and so on. So it was great. It was great to be part of that. And that's how it all started. So being part of this, if you want to get much more technical, it's a Microsoft platform at the end of the day. So it was great. Yeah.
So you have worked into various different industries. So how has that experience shaped your overall learning, especially as a leader?
So I think there are many, as a consulting person, that's where it all started. So we tend to get into different domains, business domains. So it was oil and gas, healthcare, financial sectors and all those things. So it was a very varied and broad range of industries that definitely had an opportunity as part of being the consulting team. So one thing that was very common is that everybody saw technology with some kind of a unifying factor, right? And how they can drive value for their own clients and how they can harness that efficiency in developing new systems, new softwares and new transformations and so on. So at the end of the day, even though it's all varied systems, varied industry, so technology was seen as a very common force in terms of unifying them all, for sure, yeah.
So you talked about CRM. You have been into the CRM consulting role. So how you have seen the CRM evolving over all these years and across the industry, like especially with the AI coming in. So what changes do you see in these days?
So I think CRM is, it's a very traditional in word actually these days. Nowadays, we don't use the word CRM anymore because it's the Microsoft platform also doesn't actually, even though at the core it's all CRM based, sales based, customer service based, we all talk about how AI is going to disrupt all these things for sure, right? And how can AI create all these tools to provide, in the legacy term, how can they provide more being with the customer rather than chasing opportunities and all those things? What are the tools AI can surface so that particular person, like let's say a contact center agent, who traditionally would have chased a particular opportunity with their own clients and so on, it tends to slow down and think about client as a person. How can we connect properly? So rest all, AI should take care of it. And the human element is at the core of it. You still need human in the loop. And it kind of shows me how much more human a human can be with these AI tools also, if you look at it that dimension.
Dina, you have an extensive experience in consulting. So what are the common challenges that you have experienced across industries while moving from legacy systems to newer systems?
Yeah, so one of the main challenges that we actually be part of the consulting, and that's exactly the reason the consulting exists, is to how to move the business mindset along with the transformation. That's very important, right? We are not just transforming, okay, this is your old system. It's not a lift and drop. Okay, we are just going to take these old systems, let's move on to the new system. No, that's an opportunity to actually transform the way the business works, their processes work, some of the baggages that they've always carried without nobody questioning. Now it's an opportunity to question those each and every elements to actually move into the new system. So it's not about more like system engineering where take it and move it. It's more of sitting with them, understanding what truly they need before we move it, right? That's very, very challenging actually. From the way of talking about it, it sounds to be simple because, okay, let's sit with the business and understand it. No, because there is a lot of human elements in the consulting industry, it's very challenging because everybody comes with their own agenda. Everybody has their own emotional attachment. Everybody fears about their own job when they move into the new systems as well, right? So the change management becomes truly important. So when I was talking to one of the change management leader in the past, what they told is that people, whenever we do these digital transformation or business transformation, people fear for their job, right? So how do we sit with them early on whenever we are conceiving about the opportunity to move to the new systems, the transformation? It's extremely important to sit with them to understand their and being empathetical about their own problems and challenges, and to reassure them that this is not to replace, this is not like a body replacement. This is to make sure that we all work very efficiently in the future.
And I believe it is also equally important to kind of keep the existing businesses running while you do the transformation.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That's even more challenging. You're 100% correct in pointing out that, right? Because it's not like we are just turning off the light and turning on the light in new systems, right? It's always to make sure how the existing team is supported while we are doing it. So that also brings additional complexity in terms of how can we keep the lights on while it's more like open heart surgery, right? The patient is alive. So we are just doing this heart replacement. How do we do that efficiently when the patient is alive, right? So those all things adds a lot of, when we get into the consulting, when we get into the transformation, we can easily see those pain points. But then when we just keep talking about it, it's very easy to miss those challenges.
Thanks for sharing those wonderful insights with us, Dina. Now, you have been into leadership role from quite some time and you have been leading various teams across globe. So how do you see, getting evolved as a leader, like from starting from the consulting now to a leadership role? How do you feel you have evolved as a leader, and what are the qualities that you see you have developed over all these years?
I think it's more listening to the teams is very important, right? So we all have our thinking around, okay, I know this very well than the other team members and so on, because you've been with that systems, you've been with the processes or technology, so that it's very natural to develop that kind of blind spots. That's very, very easy. So the more and more I evolve and more I experience, it kind of teaches me that the less and less we know. It's more about respecting others' opinions and listening to as to where they're coming from, what their world looks like. It doesn't matter who they are. It could be a developer who joined, the project 1 month ago, or it could be a person who has been in this particular role for 10 years. It doesn't matter. I think giving them equal opportunity for them to speak out, and with the trust that they know that, okay, this Dina will listen to them, right? That's very, very important. That's what I think experience teaches us, I think. And then more treating the people around us more like, hey, if you're leading a person, you also are responsible, not just for, their deliverable or technology that they're delivering. No, you're also responsible for their blood and sweat, right? So what would that be? Like, that's very important to make sure that they all feel they all feel included, they all feel valued. That's very important.
Absolutely. You're also dealing with the customers throughout the project. You also have a team to manage. So what are the common challenges in kind of, bringing out that balance between your customers versus your team?
I think there are no common challenges, I guess. It's more of when we think about everybody as a team, like my team members, they're also a team, and customer team is also a team when I was part of the consulting business, right? So when we all think about the customer's team also has our own team, and then my team also has my own team, it all becomes a single team to manage at that point in time. It doesn't look like two different teams. It's the same team. We're all talking the same thing. That's very important. Sometimes it can be muddied because everybody has their own agenda and stuff. But then most of the times it will work out. It'll even work out better if we see that way. Because in that way, everybody is talking the same language and nobody is talking something different and needs some kind of a translation layer or anything like that. Because whatever you see, you get, right? So this way, people can trust, they can develop the trust much more easily. They can also go and talk to anybody. They don't have to always have this hierarchical model that, oh, we have to talk to this person and this person has to talk to somebody else. No, we are all the same team. Let's actually work and think like a same team. So it's not like two different balance. It's more like how can we balance in such a manner that everybody feels like we are part of the same team.
Absolutely. Have you ever been in a situation where there is a debate between like it's a requirement versus it's a CR?
Mm-hmm.
And what's your approach during such kind of situations?
Yeah, so you're getting very technical. So I think it's again, going back to listening is a key portion of it, right? So when I see, if I'm at the other side of the fence, I always see that, oh, this is a requirement and this is how it should have been, you should have called it out early on. It's a miss. So now you can't ask for a CR. It's very easy to put that argument forward, right? But at the same time, it's only going to cause more friction, if you think about it that way, right? The people who are working through that, they know that this argument is going to come too. Right? So we are not talking to people who are like, who's writing the CR, who's writing the requirement, who just started like from the university yesterday, right? So they know, they have also been experienced and they've also heard about this statement many, many times, right? So they know that. So it's very important to understand, okay, why is the question, right? It's a very honest question. Right. Being curious and understanding that, what made you not pick this out before itself, right? Are there anything that we could have helped you that where you could have picked it up early on, right? So having that open dialogue will make that person also to think more broadly. And sometimes I've seen people actually taking that feedback and going, and you know what, Dina, it makes sense. We should have actually called out earlier. Like it also makes people much more non-defensive and inviting rather than, you know what, hey, this is not a, CR and so on. It puts people in defensive mode and 100% it will end up as a CR. So it's curiosity and listening could bring more out of everybody. It's a lesson I learned.
Yeah, and those are like, I would say, great takeaways for anyone who is like an aspiring leader. Given that, talking about the aspiring leaders, is there any advice which you would like to share based on your experience?
So I'm not in a position to provide advice and so on. So what I actually say is that for any leader is something like, you need people to rub off of you. That's very important. Because I was talking the other day, is more like, it's not about we all have innate capabilities to be leader or absolutely nothing like that. We kind of test many theories. We see what works. We see how can we bring the best out of the team members and so on. So one of the key ingredients of these things is to our own managers, our own leaders in the past. That's very important, right? So how your leader behaved with you makes you a good leader, right? I completely believe in that. So early on, when I started my journey, they were good leaders. They were good, the kind of a team leads and managers and so on, who I got a chance to work with them, right? So definitely there are certain things that rubbed off of me as well, right? It's not like we all became a good leader, and absolutely not. It's like we cannot follow others' footsteps, right? We cannot follow others' legacy. We cannot understand, learn from others, and we inculcate to our own team, and with the hope that they'll take some of our own skills and deploy it in the future. That's all.
So you talked about, having worked with some leaders. Do you have any mentors whom you still remember or have like some learnings that you still carry?
No, absolutely. I think everybody taught different things. So there is a book called, I think, Thinking Clearly or Clear Thinking. So where they say that everybody has to have their own board of directors, in the sense that, let's say, if my mind is a company, or if my leadership skill is its own company, I need to have my board of directors with whoever you picked in the past, because it's not like always one person or two person would have influenced the entire direction of whatever we are today. Absolutely not. It's everybody bringing different elements. So one leader, even though he's in extreme pressure situation, or even though he could be put in a very, very accountable situation and so on, he still maintains its cool and calmness and kind of being that jovial with his own team members, right? So that kind of inspires that, okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how intense stress you are, how much pressure you are into. You can still maintain your cool in front of others, right? So that's the takeaway. So the other leader is more like, he is extremely technical, but then he wants to simplify as much as possible. So that kind of brings it tends to communicate his own values, his own technology better, architecture better, and so on. So we learned a few things from that person too, right? Around, okay, how can I simplify this so that people who don't speak technology can still understand what I mean? Otherwise, what's the value of providing a 100-page document if they are not able to, understand what we're trying to even say, right? So how can we simplify that? So it's a multitude of different leaders. There are a lot of inspirations. So I have my own board of directors and say, okay, what would this person do in this situation? Okay, let's copy that. Let's not try to, like to reinvent the wheel. Let's copy that. It's as simple as that. So
that's a very thoughtful insight, right? Picking up the right qualities from the different leaders. So that's a wonderful insight. Now, let's talk a bit about Calgary market. Since you are working with different clients in Calgary, how do you see Calgary emerging as a technology hub?
Yeah, so like previously, when I started my journey in Calgary, it was 2008. So it was not a big technology hub or anything like that. Everything is mostly dominated by oil and gas and so on, and then associated industry and mostly. But now I think I see that there is emphasis on in Calgary. There is emphasis for technology in Calgary itself. Like many startups, I've seen that it's actually starting. One of my friends actually started his company here. So lots of people see Calgary as a viable market because of the talent it brings. Because nowadays I think people are moving past oil and gas as well and seeing what's next for Alberta, right? So that also opens a huge momentum in terms of technology, because technology is going to be that force in terms of pushing us forward, right? So that is definitely there. So there is a lot of opportunity from the job perspective in Calgary that previously that was elsewhere in Toronto or Vancouver reserved only for those areas. But then we do have a lot. So I was talking to one of my friend who's actually contracting in Alberta government, and he mentioned that there is this Alberta Innovate. There is a lot going on. The founder of that and the I think the CTO or somebody who is extremely technical, and whenever you talk to him, there is a lot of insights. There is a lot of, okay, this leader is going to do something about it, right? So there is a lot of talk about how Calgary and Alberta can be positioned as the next startup world within Canada itself.
Absolutely. Have you been ever to any of those events on platform Calgary or Alberta Innovate?
So I've been there briefly, but then not like collaborated with them before. But of course, I've participated in some. You've actually done some projects also for Alberta Innovates in the past. Yeah.
And given your extensive experience, have you ever thought of getting into your own venture?
I definitely I'm more thinking about what, like, it's more of a running thought. It's more of how can we build our own product with all these agent tech, AI and so on. What would the world needs, right? What is the product that has always been analog that is really ripe enough to do actually in the agentic world as well? So I'm more and more thinking about what product we can actually develop to help people to solve some of their own challenges and so on. So it's such an ongoing journey, ongoing philosophical journey, if you will. But then never got a chance to actually go and implement in that approach.
I wish you good luck with that.
Thank you.
So now we have talked about your professional journey. Dina, we talked about technology. Now let's talk a bit about your early days. We would like to know where you were born and how was your childhood, or are there any values or principles that you learned during your childhood? Those still remain with you?
Absolutely. I think it's we're born to a middle class family, like most of us in India, and a family of 4. So come from a background where education, order, and discipline was really put a lot of emphasis on. So one of the things I learned from my own father, to this day, he's been an inspiration, is around how you keep learning, how you keep tinkering and exploring. So a lot of values that I got from him, more like how can you explore things in an analog world. There was no YouTube for him to actually, learn and figure out from, right? So every day he comes from, he worked as a mission operator in Ashok Leyland. So every day he comes and then he opens up a scooter. Like scooter could be running, properly, fantastic, zero problems with that. He would still open it up. He would still want to see, okay, what is that's going on. He can disassemble and assemble it fully. So he started this hydrogen powered vehicles and so on too. This was like 25 years ago. So he started with that. So he wanted to see how can he actually reduce the emissions with the help of hydrogen infused fuel rather than just fuel. It's actually, he actually got certified from IIT Madras as well as to this really solves it's not somebody is sitting and talking. It really solves it. So he does a lot of testing. He travels to different regions and kind of market this particular thing. So even to this day, he created this hydrogen powered water bottle, where how can he actually, transportable water bottle. It's not like a powered or anything. It's more of a transport. You can actually take it. It's like transport. So he experiments on all those things, and he's not very well versed in English, or he doesn't know this he doesn't have this background on all those things, right? But then he tinkers and learns, right? So definitely it's a big inspiration to be around him in terms of what are the things he looks into. And then he teaches us whenever we go to India. He just, hey, I did something like this, and you open new products, and like, what did you even do? Where did you even learn these from, right? It's always like that. So he always emphasized more around going out and exploring. So I was actually, he asked me, okay, do you want to learn French? Like, okay, no, I don't want to learn. Oh, no, you have to learn. Let's go. So he actually sent me to one of our relatives' place where I had to go travel to Pondicherry each and every day to learn French. And then it was 2 hours, 3 hours class, and come back home and relax. So he came to know that I'm relaxing after French class. So he came back to this relative's place and saying, no, you are going out. Don't come back. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. You don't have business coming back and relaxing. It's fine. You can come in the night whenever you want, right? Just go in the morning, do whatever you have to do. If you want to roam somewhere else, come back 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. That's fine. We'll manage, right? So he kind of prioritizes that, okay, you have to go and explore yourself, be social in that manner. You don't have to do only this specific thing and then come back home. And no, that's not how it works, right? So those are different aspects of it. Definitely, it's a lot inspiring thinking about that. And it's always very fresh in my mind that how he operated as a person.
So, Dina, let's talk a bit about your family members. You talked about your dad, and his story truly has been very inspiring. So, we'd like to know, other key anchors in your family.
Yeah, so my wife has been instrumental, like with all the support that anybody can give, right? So without her, nothing is gonna happen, right? So I think very, very fortunate to have her, and very, very fortunate for her own flexibility. Some of these being in a big corporations and being in leadership, it takes some time more than what we want to give out. But then it's all about giving also, right? We have been receiving for long, and then this is our chance to give it back to the whoever that deserves, right? So she always takes that into consideration in kind of any planning. She kind of takes out some of my own load so that I can focus on some of these things as well. So that's definitely been instrumental for sure. Yeah.
Wonderful. And you have kids?
Yes, 2, 3 and 6 boys. So yeah, it's they are extremely like my older one is more into the arts. Already I can see he wants to play piano, and he is very much into singing and music. He kind of finds out patterns between different songs and tries and find out. So it's is on music and so on. Yeah. So it's they both are very, very, very naughty, and at the same time cute. Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for sharing that with us, Dina. Now we are almost nearing end of our wonderful discussion, and at the end we have a round called as rapid fire round, where I'll be asking you some questions, and would be expecting some quick answers from you.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, ready.
Okay. One thing on your bucket list.
Building our own product.
Wonderful. Favorite movie?
There are so many. It's just I love Jigartanda 1. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a Tamil movie, but yeah.
Nice. Favorite comfort food?
Chicken biryani.
Okay, nice. Most inspiring person you have met?
My wife.
Beautiful. What's your go-to soundtrack while building strategy decks?
None. I just don't need anything. It just allows me to focus.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
And the last question. Your reaction when someone says, we will fix it in production?
I know it's a rapid fire, but then
That's
it's we are setting a trap for ourselves in the future.
That's a good answer. Thank you so much, Dina. It's really wonderful talking to you, and thanks for sharing your inspiring journey and also your dad's inspiring journey with us. And it's truly been a pleasure to meet you and talk to you. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to meet you as well. Thanks for having me again. Thank you. Thank you, Sheetal.